Alright, how's it going, guys? So last time we left off, we went and we created the kind of the skeleton of the main app, and then we kind of got all the back end ready, where it's getting data, it's serving data. We even sent it data through Postman, so that's pretty good. And now for this class, we're going to go over Angular. So Angular is really nice for a lot of reasons. I don't know if I went over how much I went over it last time. I meant to keep it all for today, but I just can't help myself. So Angular is really nice, and I probably talked about it the first week as well. All the calculations that really get done are on the user's computer. So the site that I have running, that is all on a Raspberry Pi, which is, it has more memory than I think. It has more memory than I'm surprised by how much memory it has. So it's not a little, but it's definitely not what you would need to host a server or anything. But because it's combined with Node, which is fast as well, you have an Angular app that all you really need to do is send it the information, and at times just come back and take information. So and it's just really that simple. All the calculations are done on the user's computer, and they have so much that they're not using if they're just browsing the web. These calculations are going to be like nothing for their computer. It's just spread out. It makes everything spread out to other computers and a lot of things happening on the server, which is really nice, and it's very cost effective. And it's also, Google is the maker of Angular. There's also Angular.js, so if you're looking up solutions, make sure it's not Angular.js. So there's been confusion with the name. Angular used to mean Angular.js, and then Angular 2 was Angular, and then they switched it, and now Angular 2 has grown to be Angular 4, Angular 5. So that is continually updated. I'm not sure about Angular.js, if that's continually updated. I'm pretty sure a lot of people liked that, Angular.js. But yeah, so when you're just as a heads up, and speaking of updating Angular, mine wasn't updated last time, so I'm about to show you where I'm at right now. And your main screen might have looked a little different, and I actually went back and updated my Angular so that everything, if I ran into an issue, you would run into an issue, and not any other way around. So I went and updated to my latest version. If you had Angular on your computer before this, I would recommend going and looking to how to update it on your computer. It's like 4 simple commands. And then you'll get everything updated. Updated on your computer is a couple of commands, and then 4 commands to update it locally. I'm sure I probably still in my user history if I go to Chrome. So I'll do that in a second. But first I'll travel to the file where we have this, so that we can run the ng build and then the node-mon server that we did last time, so that we can see everything working. And then I called it problem. Alright, now go in here, and I'll do the same thing for another one, start, so that we can run our Mongo command, and then live, part 5, tab, and then problem solving. Hope I don't come across too distracted today. There's a big game. If you're from Minnesota and you're a fan of basketball, you know how big this game is. Tonight it's actually going on now. I don't expect many live users from this for that reason. And if you are watching live, I recommend to watch the game and then watch this. But if you have no care, then continue to watch as it goes live. So then we will go start on MongoDB, DB path, and then we'll go, it's documents, CPP, live, solving, geez, I should not have made this long, problem solving, site, server, and then we go into that data folder, and that's where all of our data is going to be saved. So when we get there, yeah. Also, this will change when stuff is changed. I really dislike this because technically it's not a change. When I went to update my Angular, for some reason my data folder, even though I don't like to, I never push your data folder, so always include it in your git ignore by putting that in. So it's saying that it's not going to get updated, and that's what Atom does when things are not supposed to be included. That it kind of grays them out so to show you that they're not going to be included in your git. But as you see, as soon as I ran Mongo, Adam told me that there's changes that I need to push to git. That's what the yellow means. So a little ticked by that, but you know, we're never going to store large amounts of data. It really becomes an issue if you try to store images. I think you store like one image, and then GitHub gets mad. It has a cap that you shouldn't go over, and you also just don't want your data to just be up there. It's just a big issue. So, but for the purpose of the site, it's not too big of a deal. I just dislike it because every time I run the command now, it's going to go yellow. But you know, so we're going to build, and I'm going to show you where I'm at and see if you guys are there. You guys should be there, and then we're going to proceed from what we had before. So then node, come on. Server, bang. So then this is something that we're going to need in a little bit. See, welcome to your Angular app. We changed this title when we were there. Yeah, but this is what you should have gotten. Sorry for the confusion before. If you're like, whoa, mine looks a little different. Well, yours actually looked better, and it was better because it's newer. The newer is always better for these type of things. Okay, so now moving on. Now we're going to start making that Angular app be something similar to a web page. So the first thing that I like to do as soon as I make this is I come into this. Actually, the first thing I technically like to do, I'll run Control C here, is I do ng generate component, and then we're going to need a home component. And then I'm just going to go up, and I'm going to do, we need a blog. We need, as you can see, they're entering here. So then I'm going to need address book. These components are very important with Angular. I guess I should have gone over that as well, but I will do that here in a second. Login, we'll need a login, and then I like to include one more. We don't really need it. Page not found component. That's just if a page isn't found, we're going to reroute the user to tell them that that's not a URL that we support, basically, that is of any importance, really. Alright, so components, so components, what Angular is really nice, another reason, I guess I only stated the main one, and I meant to state it, but then I didn't, is that you can keep a lot of things on the screen and just change what you want to change. And that's what components will do. Components will be the things that we will update, and then you'll have the basic app HTML, and then it will update what component in a certain area that it's showing at a present time. You can have many on the screen as you want at a time. We're going to have one component, and then we're going to have the app HTML, which is kind of static. The components, changing through components is dynamic. The components themselves are also dynamic, I guess, because as we'll see, Angular is really good at dynamically updating data and updating data. So we'll see that, which is another great thing about Angular. That's not really the case with regular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you guys don't know what those are, don't worry, we'll get into at least HTML and CSS today. We'll actually do TypeScript instead of JavaScript, but TypeScript and JavaScript are similar enough that you'll see they both do the calculations and kind of the functionality for the website. The HTML and CSS kind of just display it, but when you just have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, just vanilla, it's not as dynamic. It's harder to make it as dynamic as an Angular app makes it easy. So we'll go into that more. I hope that made a little sense. But yeah, components are great because you can kind of keep a format that you want, and then when all you have to do is update your app HTML by throwing in a new component when something's clicked, and then that's there then for the user. So it's also a single page, which is nice, but I mean, I mean, which is why you get all these functionalities. So I guess it's important, but just saying a single page doesn't really get to the nitty-gritty as much as everything else I just said. So now that we included those components, we're going to want a way to get there. And then the next thing I guess I like to do is make a routes. So when they go to just localhost 3000, when we type it in, you could think of it as like just a YouTube, like a https://youtube.com. Like that's what your main name would be, is localhost 3000. So like mine is Zach's Thought. So mine would be https://Zach's Thought and then something. So we would want the user when if they were running on our computer, or if you have your enter site name here, when they just enter that name, you want them to go to a home page. And then if they went to, like, say, blog, you'd want to see all the posts. And when they went to like your address book, you'd want to see all the contacts. You really don't want people to see all the contacts that you know, but for the purpose of this website, just kind of include everything that we've done before. That's what we're going to end up doing. And then we're going to want them to be able to log in somehow. And then when the page isn't found, we want to throw back to them some stuff. So in order to do that, in Angular, we do app.routes.ts, and then we create that. Also, we probably won't get to the login and the authentication, but we will get to that the next class, and I'll probably combine that with the beginning of machine learning. But yeah, just because while I was going over this, I realized everything was just so long, and I don't want to rush it like I rushed the Qt ones, along with the TK inter, which I probably should have split those up rather than preparing for both of them at the same time. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. Hopefully it's a better call. Hopefully I learned from my mistakes and I'm not just postponing a class. So we'll see. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to include, Angular comes with these with this route, so we have to import that. It's kind of like importing, we get functionalities from this, just like importing things within, or including things in C++ and importing them in Python. We're getting functionality from this, and Angular. These all come from Angular.router, and then we're going to also have to import. We're going to have to export it kind of as an Angular module. So it's going to be ng module, and that's going to be from Angular. I kind of wish they just, instead of @Angular, they kind of just put @Angular. But I mean, I guess the @ symbol is important for probably other things as well, so keep everything consistent. But you know, it already looks like an A. Just go with it. Clean it up, damn it. Yep. So then we'll go to address book. We have to include the components that we just did that we want to route to. So then I'm just going to do address book. Also, when you make it component, the component is always capitalized with the first letter, and then component is capitalized. So when you create a component address book, it's going to be capital A address book, and then the thing you want to include is going to be component. And I could show you that right now. So then and then we just list kind of the path from this file to that. So then it's going to be within the address book folder. Address book. Address book.component. Oh no. Control Z. Nope. That's not what we want. Address book.component. And then actually we could just keep it like that, because when you include things, just like when we run Node server, we don't have to include the .js. We don't have to include the .ts here, because it just knows. It's just looking for a TS file. So then I'm actually just going to copy this, because it's going to be the same for all the others. So I'm just going to do that, and I think we have, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5. Then I'm going to do blog, not blog, not blog book, just blog, and then blog here. If you guys catch the drift of what I'm doing right now, you could probably fast forward maybe like 20 seconds, and then I might be done with this. Oh geez, if I keep taking out oh my gosh, I did it here too. Jeez Louise. Alright, home, home. Alright, so then we're going to go and we're going to do login, which we won't really mess with, but we'll point the user to a page, since all it's going to really say is that login component works, or login page is working, or something. And then this one, oh, actually these are all capital as well. Login, and then page not found. I gotta find a shorter name for that. Not found. I used to like the irony, I guess, of it being so long. I thought it was kind of funny, but I think that humor has wore off on me, and I should just find a shorter name. I don't know, that's just me though, I guess. Alright, so then we're gonna have to export, and what we're gonna have to export is kind of we're gonna name it app routes. And what is app routes? We're gonna give it AP routes. Yeah. We're gonna give it basically the routes that we included here. We're gonna import it. That's the type it is. So then we're exporting app routes. So that's everything that we want. That's what everything we're going to want to have is going to be here. So now we have to include the routes that we want. So in order to do that, we kind of create like a dictionary type thing. And then this is how we're going to define component, and then the component that we want, that's going to be when they just come to the regular like youtube.com or the localhost 3000 or Zexthot. And then for that we said that we wanted app component, and then we're going to do a comma here, and then I'm just going to copy this and paste 1 2 3 4 5. Alright, so then the next one we want is we're going to want blog. So we don't need the slash, we just want blog. And then we're going to want, I don't think we're going to get to how we would include, it's unfortunate. Maybe I'll try to make it my best effort. Maybe if I have time in the login one, just to include variables. You can include variables in these names, and I wish I included something that did that for us. So maybe I'll be able to think of something. I think I can do it actually pretty easily. So then this one we're going to do finding orangutan, but no, we'll do finding login, and then I don't like to keep it just login for the first time, because I probably don't want people logging in the very beginning, so I make it like a little ambiguous. And then for anything that we don't have, we're going to use star, and then star will say, we'll basically take in anything that we haven't defined. This will pop up. So if it's not defined, this will pop up. Page not found component. Alright, so then these are all our components, and we don't need a comma. And then we can just end, that is the end of our variable, the one we declared all the way at the top. So then we have to, like I said, we needed it to be an ng module, so we'll include ng module. And then what do we want inside of here? We're going to do imports. Boom, and then we're going to do the router module, the other one that we didn't do, that we haven't used yet, and then includes, and then for root, and then we'll just include this variable that we just have for routes. Alright, pretty good. And then we'll do exports, router module, exports, and then we'll just do router module. They're the same time. They're both modules, so that makes sense. And then we're also going to do export, and then we're going to make it a class, and then we're going to name it f routing module. And then we'll see what this is in a second. And then we'll do a routing component. So all the components that we kind of included. This is probably a semicolon. Note. Let's see, because I think that should also be whatever. I don't know why it's highlighting it weird. This is what I'm thinking. Components. Maybe when I type this all out. Equals, and then we'll do we use log. Well, maybe we should keep it. Logging component. I wanted to keep it in some natural order. Component. Home component we use. Really want to just go up and copy it. Because I know if I do this, I'm going to do something like I just did about 3 times. Log component. Address book component and page not found component. Alright, that's everything. Now we're good to go with that. So this is our this is now our routes. Now every time once we include this into here, actually, once we include our routes into there, everything will be we'll be able to use those routes. So I'll show you that here in a second. So now we have to import all the routes that we kind of created because we need to let the app know that that's what we're using. And app module is kind of the main source for that. So then we'll just do, this is what we named it, app routing module, and that is from then app.routes. That's good. Alright, and then we need that routing components as well. The components included in there. Import routing components. Not sure if we actually need that, but app.routes as well. Because we include those components, but it works. So then we need to, in declarations, we need to include routing components, even though routing components, just like all our other components. These are, when you use that ng, I should save this, I guess. So when you use the ng generate component, it's really nice because it adds these logging components after. If you didn't do that, you'd have to type these in all the time, which kind of sucks. So routing components, and then in imports we are going to define that the other thing that we included, the app routing module. I think we called it app routing module. That sounds like, well no, because I'm about to build this and show you. But before I do that, so like I said, this is what we're importing into that routes. This address book component, it's generated when you run that ng generate command. This whole folder is, so that's nice. When I clicked it, okay. Alright, so then everyone has one of those, so that's really nice. So then we can run an ng build again. Hopefully we didn't have any errors, but oh, we do. Okay, so app routes error 13, so it's expecting a semicolon somewhere. So let's see where, or an end line or something, or there's something within here. It's just so 13. We did that. Yeah, comma path. That looks right to me. Component. Yo. Oh, this is okay. This is a bracket. That's what it is. Okay. And then when we come down here, this is a bracket colon. So now let's see. Maybe who knows? But I mean that's a good thing I took away the login, because just in case for these errors, that should be so on 35 and on 41. Okay, so 35. Let's look at that. Oh jeez. Okay, so that's what it was. That's a squiggly, and then I'm gonna go here. Okay, so interesting. So array, not dictionary. So hopefully that's what we need. Let's go back here real quick. We'll do ng build. Dun, 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 dun. Cross your fingers. 3 mistakes, and I found 3 things. So you know, it's always a positive thing. Are you kidding? Address book. You're right. Where did I do it? Oh, I bet I did it here. Yep. because I was copying and pasting where all the errors happen. I hate that this ng build just takes so long. You actually can, speaking of ng build, you can combine, there's a way to look this up. You combine ng build with a known mod server. You can just type this in somewhere. I forget where it is, because I just don't mind. I really don't mind it, even though I hate ng build. I like having it stop, and then I get to run node mod server myself, because maybe sometimes when I run ng build I don't want to do it. That's more often than not. I want to run ng build without running node mod server. So yeah, so we have to, interesting, so that takes over, so the home component we might not be able to find, but if we go to blog, interesting. Why would that happen? Because we're including those routes. So maybe if I go to here and I just kind of take all this out, because I don't really need any of this. Oh, and then actually I do need something. So I actually need what would it be? So we'll come back to it. I think if I'd include it should just return maybe if I just save this, let's see what happens. I don't think it's actually going to work, but the routes should be working, so let's see. You would hope. I don't know. Maybe we did something wrong. Maybe I included it wrong, but I'm going to go, if this doesn't work, I'm going to assume that it's working and just kind of move on. And then if it doesn't, we know where to come back to, so. Nothing. That's very interesting. Okay. We should see, because in this blog we have BlogWorks, so we should be seeing that if we go to blog, path blog, and then I named it app routes, ng module, router module exports, routing components, app routing module. Right? I mean, it would have told me they couldn't find it if I didn't include it here. Routing. Alright, well, cross our fingers, and we'll see what happens. That's kind of strange. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go, yeah, it's in there. Okay. So I'm going to actually make a new folder, and I'm going to call this services. Services. And then this is going to be for communicating with our node backend to send and receive information. So we're going to actually new file. So this is going to be web.service, because that's just how I name it, because you're communicating over the web. .ts service.ts. Yep. All right, perfect. And then the first thing that we need to do is that we need to Angular has this nice thing called Injectables, so we can just kind of inject this into our components. So that's what we're going to be doing. So instead of having to define it for every component, we're just going to be able to use an injectable, and it's going to be able to kind of work as like our imports. Core, that's from, and then we're going to we have to include actually these. These will communicate back and help us kind of parse a lot of the information we're getting back and send HTTP stuff. But the main things that once we the main parsers, I guess, actually. So this will be able to make us send and receive information. The main parsers actually come from something not from Angular, but these actually do come from Angular. So request, but don't worry, when you include Angular, they come with it. So that's really nice. Angular/HTTP makes sense. And then import, this is one of the ones that we need to do, observable, and that's going to be from rxjs/observable. So rxjs is, they don't have an at, that's weird. Now I think they should just even more so get rid of that A, just use at, or get rid of that other one. I don't know, I like the at symbol. I think it means that you're injecting something. So RxJS is that library I was talking about, and we have to include a couple more things from it. RxJS, I think map. And we'll see all of these in use here in a second. Operator. Alright. RxJS add operator slash and this one's going to be catch, even though I don't think I use catch, but it's good to have it, but I find that it's not super important. If everything goes correct, you don't really actually need a catch, but it's always really good to have a catch. I just don't think I use it for this tutorial. And this is from, we're going to need to include this. We're actually going to have to go make this, so we're actually going to do /home /contact.model. So we're going to have to go make this, so we will go do that. So I like to, so basically what this is, it's like a, this is something that we're going to have to make, and it is like the schema or whatever that we made for Mongoose to communicate with MongoDB, or made for Mongo to use with MongoDB. Mongoose, yeah, we used Mongoose to create it, and that's to communicate with MongoDB. Same thing that we're going to have to kind of create this model that's going to model what data we're getting in and what data we're trying to send out. It makes everything a lot easier. So we need a mouse contact dot, and I like to put these in the home just because. You could put it in contact belongs to blog, and then the next one we're gonna, contact actually. So we're actually gonna do post first. We're actually gonna do post.model.ts. Because I want to do the blog part of it first, and then we'll kind of actually just be able to copy everything because it's very similar. Post.model.ts. Yeah. So then we have that. And then in order to, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to export class. Basically all we have to do. And then this is going to be a, let's see, do I want to, maybe I'll do, no, I already have post here. So we're going to, let's see, we're going to do post, and what do we have for post? We have a name, someone who did it, and that's going to be a string. We have a title, and that's going to be a string. We have a post, that's going to be a string, and we have a date, and that's going to be a string. And I think that's all we have, but then you have to include the underscore ID, because that's going to be a field, but it's only a field after when you receive things from the server, because like we said last week, is when you create something, you don't supply the ID. Mongo creates the ID. So if you create a blog post, the ID won't be created until it reaches the server, and the server has the ID. So unless you update back up, we don't have the ID. So creating this field, if we needed an ID, it would kind of be pretty dumb. So then similarly, oh, actually, don't close it yet. Oh, and these are actually not commas. These are going to be boom. Alright, so constructor. And the constructor is going to take name, which is a string. And it's going to take a title, which is a string. It's going to take a number, which is a string, and an email. No, those are for contact. A post, which is a string, and a date, which is a string. All right, and then possibly an ID, and then I include that at the end. So that's going to be post ID question mark. And that is going to be, and the question marks means optional, so I don't know if I said that on my tangent about optional and not optional. Alright, so then we're going to do, yep. So we're going to do, and then we're going to say this dot name, and that's getting this name, and it's setting it equal to this name. And then we're going to say this dot title equals title, and then we're going to say this dot post equals post, and then we're going to say this dot date equals date, and then this dot ID. I mean, that's not this, but it was close. Good try, good try. Solid effort on the field. Equals post ID. Did I do that thing? Okay. Alright, yeah, since these are optional, we don't have to put the question marks here. It knows it's optional. It takes it in optionally, and it sets it. It doesn't, if it's equal to an optional thing, if it's not there, it just won't do anything with it. So I'll save this. And then we'll go back here and we'll actually take this and we'll change it to post, because now we're going to want to do post. Post. I don't know, maybe I want to do content. No, we'll keep it. Alright, so then now we'll start making what things we would like to include with this post. So when somebody adds a post, we want to send it to the server. When somebody comes to the server, we want to retrieve all of the posts. On the home page, I like to include the latest post. So we'll have to get latest, which we have already, the functionality on the server end. And I would also like to delete a post. So it's really not that bad. So the first thing we're going to define is an injectable table. Yep. And then we're going to do export class, and this is what we're exporting. And then this, I always call it. I might change this as well, just because. Data's service. I like to have it plural, but I don't know. I hate the double S, so maybe I'll name it something different. So then we also need, this is kind of going to keep track of everything that we kind of take in and take out. So we're going to have contacts, which we don't have yet, so I actually won't do that. In my plan, I actually went with contacts first, but I kind of like post first, so we'll see if that hinders anything. And it's going to equal just a blank array. So it's okay. It's this right here is saying that it's a post array. So we're saying we're setting up a private variable called posts, and it's of type post array. So then we set it equal to an array, and then it won't have any problem. Angular is picky as well, just like C++ on what types you assign to what. So it's best always to define what type you like, what you want it to be, not what you like. Doesn't care about what you like, because and that's going to be of type to HTTP, because if it ever comes back that something was not of that type, it'll send an error, which you want, because you're expecting a certain type, so you don't want it to act on anything. So we're going to do actually, and then we're going to have to do include all the posts. So then when we add a post, we're going to take in a post that is of type post, and then we're going to say this dot post dot unshift. We're going to add it kind of to the back of it, to the front of it actually. That's what unshift does. Reverse of what actually usually happens when array usually appends to something. It will put it to the end of it, but unshifting it means that we're putting it in the beginning of it, which is what we want. We want it to be the latest thing that people see. If it was the most recently added, and if this is getting called, then it is the most recently added. We're just going to stringify post, and this is going to be the body of what we send. So then we're going to set the headers of the response that request that we're sending, I guess. We're going to set that equal to new headers because we included that, so that's nice and easy. And then it's going to be of the content type. If you guys remember from actually Postmon, we did this a little bit. The content type, and it's going to be application JSON. I always say JSON like that. I have no idea why. Because I'm funny is why. Alright, so then headers, and then we're going to return this.http, so whatever we get back from a post, http post, http, ding ding ding, localhost 3000. This is known. We know that we want to send it over localhost. We know this path exists. Posts. Good. And then we want to send the body with it, which just has all our information. And then the headers are important to signal what we have really coming in. So headers. And then we'll close everything up. And then we're gonna want to map this response. Mapping doesn't really show too much here of what's going on with this mapping when you map a post, but we will see a lot of it in .json. Alright, so that is good. And actually, we think we need one more here. This whole thing is inside here. The response of type response, map it to response.json. Okay. Alright, that seems good. And we have this. Alright, sweet. So then we're adding posts. So the response that we usually send back with a post is like, it was successfully posted. And that's not really important. What we're going to see the importance of the mapping is actually going to be in get all posts. Usually, if I am not getting a single one, I usually just name this get post. But since I'm going to also get latest post, I'm going to name that one as well. But alright, so then we don't pass anything to it because we're just calling this. So it's going to be, we're going to actually just do the whole thing is just going to be return http .get, and then we're going to just do http just like before. I think I could just do this blah 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 dot post. Sound effects are key when programming. And then this is where 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all the magic kind of is going to happen here. So again, we're going to do response of type response. And again, you really don't. I don't even think you need that. But it's always nice to define what it's going to be. That does make it a little uglier in my opinion, but well, to me actually, I prefer to see that. So. Because if I didn't, I'd be worried that we were not getting a type response back. You're always going to get a type response back, I believe, if you do this. But .json, and then we're going to change it to an object. So that's going to be we're just creating a variable that's going to be a JSON object, basically. So that when we get our JSON object back, we're going to be able to try and basically do stuff with that data. So transform. And I'm going to call a variable called transformed post, and I'm going to, since there's an S clearly, I'm going to want one of these, and then initially I'm going to set it equal to a blank array, similar to what I did above with the regular posts. So transformed post, and then for let post, this is just a for loop for basically of all posts that we get back. Yep, alright, so then we're going to do transform post. We're going to want to transform, transform post dot push, and then we're going to make this a new, and then we're going to make it into something that we know, and what we know is, though we technically know about us personally, know about the model that is getting thrown to us, we need to incorporate that for Angular to understand into an Angular model. We know the Angular knows the Angular model, Node knows the Node model. So we're going to need to make everything that we kind of got into a Angular post.name. We know post.name. Actually, this might have to change because I think what I do in the other side, well, I'll just change the other side then too. Post. Well, actually, I think I do. Then I do title, and then I do post.post, and then I do post.date, and then I do post.id. Yep. that ID. I think I actually put the title first usually. What would I like to do? Alright, so then that's good. And then we're kind of done with that for loop, so we'll go back down here. And I think that's already corresponding to that. Yep, so we're closing that up, so that's nice and good. And then we're going to have to return our yep, this.post equals transform post. Okay. Alright, yeah, so this.post. We're going to change it to transformed posts. What if I, yep, perfect. Transformed posts, and then we're going to return transformed posts. Transform. Well, I could actually just do v. So then this.post is not this, it's going to be what we called earlier in the function. Also, this is getting the response, all the things that we got through response. And I'm actually going to change this because I think on the back end, I think I have title. I mean, I should actually just go look. So I think it's dot title, and then I think I have post dot name. So I'm actually just going to go look for that really quick. Pardon the interruption. Post. Oh, would you look at that? I had it right. Okay, cool. So I'll actually go back to that. And then we'll go back and just do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Name. Alright, title. Alright, so then name title. So then, okay, name title. That's what we had before. Alright, so that should be good. Okay, so then this is all good. Let me see, should I just, oh, where does this, oh yeah, so then we're at the end here, right? Okay. We're going to hit enter a couple times, and we're going to do our get latest post, because that's the other thing that we need to do. Yep, so get latest post. And then we're just going to basically do the exact same thing, except for without the, so I'll actually just copy this, so that never goes well, but you know, YOLO, why not? So then this is actually going to be latest post, I think is what I call it. Latest post. Okay, so then that's the latest post, and then this is going to be just be equal to, and then we can actually, I think, just go right up to here. New post. What is this? So then I think we just need that. And then we just need, we don't want to set posts equal to that because it's not an array, so that would be probably pretty bad. And I'm actually going to put one here and then one here. So that'd be get latest post, so that's pretty good. Don't really want to edit the post, not yet at least, so I'm just going to use a delete post. I'm going to call it post because when we delete something, it's going to have to send in that object that we call. And then we're going to have to return, basically that we deleted it, so return this.http dot delete and then it's going to be http boom localhost 3000 /API/posts. And then we're actually going to have to add to it post, post.id, _ID. So we have. Alright, so then we'll have to map the response to actually understand what we do back. 1, 2, 3, 4, .map. Response, yep. Response, and then we're going to do response.json, boom, boom. Yep. Alright, and then, yeah, okay, cool. So this is everything for our post now. So now if we went to add these things, if we went to create our post into our post, our blog component, and we were able to kind of update blog component, then we would be include all these functions. We'd be good to go. Yeah, we'd be able to get the latest. We could do even home, and we could just do that and just get the latest just to make sure that that's working. Yeah, but I think the first thing I'll do is I'll go to post because that's going to be the hardest. How are we doing on time? Not bad, actually. All right, so then we'll go to blog. All right, yeah, so then I'll go to blog. Let's see, do I want to do component or HTML first? Let's do component. We're on that mindset. So, yeah, so we're on that mindset. So I'm going to head there. So let me. This class I'm taking a little different approach to it. Here we go. So I'm going to head there, and I'm going to go to anything else that we need. So we're going to have to do an import ng form, and it's going to be from Angular forms. So you guessed it. Forums, not forums, forms. I'd like to sound more proper. No, that's the wrong word. And then we're going to have to include our nice little data service that we just made. And it's going to be from / services, and then / web.service. Nope. Yep. Services. Yep. / and then instead of / because it's actually not within the blog folder, but up in the app folder, and then that's where the service folder is, right here, and then you go into that and you get web.service. Hopefully that makes sense. I think we've done stuff like that before. Post from, and then again, this is not in our folder, but it's actually in the home folder, which is a folder above, which is within the app folder. Basically, anything within the app folder is going to be / post model. Yep, then we have at component, at blog, yep, blog.component.html, blog.component.c, yep. Which is our style sheets and our HTML. We haven't fooled with our HTML yet, and we're not going to go anywhere near our style sheets. No. We're actually going to do the global style sheet, and we're actually going to need providers in order to include data service. It provides a service, so providers, data service, yep. Okay, cool. Alright, then blog component, yep, and then we're also going to implement, I don't know why it doesn't do this anymore. I won't mess with it. Sometimes in the older Angular included Boolean, and this is going to be, sorry, I just dropped my thought. It included an onDestroy, which you could enact things when the thing destroyed, but you know, I actually didn't do anything, so I just left that function blank anyway, so let's just leave it. So now, here, we'll go back to, we can't do that actually. Now we're going to want to only show to add a contact when we click a button, and then it'll show kind of a form that'll pop up, and we can put in fields, and then hit a submit, and it'll send off the form. So this is what the show is for. It's only going to be true when we want to show it when we click a button. So it's going to be first false. We don't want the people to see it at first. We don't want us to see it at first. And then even again, on top of this, when we create a login, we're going to only let it show when someone, the button's only going to show for it to click it if the login is your login. So that's pretty cool. But it doesn't even matter if they can see the button or not, because on the back end we're going to make sure that they can't. They can't even. Someone without that login can't even send to specific URLs, which is pretty good. And then we're going to do, I don't know if I use this yet, but this is going to be for when we include machine learning into our TensorFlow. String equals bang, bang, bang. Alright, cool. And then we actually, in our constructor, similar to our constructor in the service where we included HTTP, we're going to do private web service. and this is going to be from data's service. That's why I don't call it web service, because I like to reference it as web service when I'm in here. I guess I could www or web's service, but I don't know, I just always found this to be easier, but I'm starting to hate it now. So on a new form, I forget what I call that. So then we'll just we're gonna want to console.log our form. F is always a form. Console.log f.numbers. Numbers. F.value.number. I don't even think we need this, but I've done it with my other one, so eventually we'll need this, so why not just include that. This.quant equals an empty array, and then for, let's see what this does, var I equals 0, I is less than parse int f.value.numbers. Okay, so parse as an integer. We're going to do for loop, and that for loop is going to this.quant push high. This.quant push high. I don't actually think I use this push. I don't know why I included to talk about this, but you know, let's see. Because I know it's in the side of the HTML. I just think that I commented it out. So let's see. So on submit, this is definitely a form thing. When we submit a form, actually, I think this was for, I know what it was for. So when we submit a form, we are going to include the form, and then we're going to have to, before we send a new form, because I like the date at least, having the date included with it, object equals new date. We actually have to do some things to this date because it's not really in the thing that we want. Var month equals date object that we just created, dot get UTC month, and then we're going to +1 to make it from 1 to 12, and then we're going to var day, you guessed it, date object dot get UTC dot get UTC date, and then we're going to do var year, and again, equals date object dot get UTC full year. We're really doing this because we need this date field in something other than what they have prepared, other than what is available to us through this date. So we're just getting all these objects from it. It's kind of a tedious task, but to locale, times string, and that's getting times. Then basically, to make it a nice string, we do equals month plus slash plus day plus slash plus year, and then plus space, and then there is the time. Not that time. Alright, so then now we just created our date. So now we can go into, we can say var posting is type post that we included equals a new post, and this is going to be, we said name, right? f.value.name name is first, f.value.name f.value. Oh, we're actually not going to take it a name. I always include this just as Zach. So then we're going to do f.value dot title f.value dot post these are all going to be values of our I usually call it thought. And alright, so then posting, then the date. So then we're good there. So then what we have to do is send this posting to with our web service. So web service, and then the function we want is .add post. If it's all coming together for you now, that's what I hoped. If it's not, I'll try harder next time. Subscribe, and then what we're going to use is data. Console.log, and I just like to log the data. Boom. The data should just be what we sent it. So just to make sure, unshift, and then we're going to unshift posting, and then this dot show, and then we don't want to show this anymore. Dot show equals no show. Not this dot show. Sorry. Anytime you see that, I feel like we've gone over this, but exclamation point just means if it's a boolean, it's going to return the opposite value, which is really nice to have as a boolean. All right, so then we're going to have a new field. When we hit the show button, we're going to want to do this quant, but then this dot show, this is for sure needed. Show. So basically it's going to be false, and then now we're going to be setting it to true, and then after we do it, it's true, and then we're going to set it to false. So basically that's what we're doing. So when we enter it, when we click the plus, what's going to be plus button, and it's going to pop open a new field because we changed this dot show, and then so then we're going to be able to do all the things we want to do. All right, so then we need on delete. So when we delete something, we want this to, it's going to take a component that I'm calling blog, and then we're going to let index, which is going to be a number, equal this dot post dot index of blog. That's not even index, that is IDEX. All right, there we go. So then if index does not equal, so if it's not true, it's going to return -1. So then what we're going to do, if it does give us back something, if it's found the thing that we want to delete, which it should be, because the only way to see it if you click a button, but always account for those errors. When earlier I said we're not going to include a catch because I don't care about errors, but I do. I just know what errors that we definitely need to, that might actually definitely show up, because as you can tell, I have some errors in my code. Blog. Alright, so then we're going to call the delete post, we're going to send it blog, and then that blog is going to get the ID, it's going to send the ID to the server, and the server is going to look through its MongoDB of all of our posts and find that and then delete it. So pretty darn cool. It's not a lot. And then we're also anytime. So these things are called observables, and you have to always subscribe to observables in order to use them. So subscribe. That's why we're always subscribing. It's why we're mapping. And we don't really want to do anything with the delete because we don't care about it. Sorry, delete. So then the last thing, well actually there's two last things really, and this one's just kind of a placeholder. I'm going to call a function that's called isAdmin, and I'm actually just going to return true no matter what. True, and this will just make it quicker when we actually create a username and password, which we'll do next week. As you can tell, this is actually getting pretty long. So web.service. Happy I split it up into two, I think. Get all posts. So now we're going to want to get all posts, and then we're going to want to subscribe to it. Subscribe. Blog post. You can call that anything you want. I like blog post, and it's going to be of type post array because that's what we're getting back. We're and then I'm gonna function type it. It's gonna be so for var I equals 0. I is less than blog post dot length I plus plus, and then we're going to say this dot post. Again, we're going to use that unshift command so that the latest is always on top. Blog post I. Alright, so then bang, make sure everything's closed. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, so this should be good. And then the next thing we have to do is we're going to have to go to the HTML side. But both of these, the context, the address book, and the blog are very similar. So really what I'm just going to do is kind of copy one to the other. So even though this part's taking a while, it's actually fairly close to being done. Yeah, we just have to go through the styling of it a little bit after I do this, including that thing that I talked about before. So we'll go to the HTML of this. Oh yeah, then home component, but home component's really short. We're gonna go to the HTML of this. So the first thing, div, so class equals center. So classes are all going to be defined within our style.css, not the blog component.css, because we're not going to use that. We're just going to set up global and just use everything globally. But yeah. Alright, so then we're going to do ng container. Ng containers are nice because also divs are like, I forgot we haven't gone over HTML. So HTML is set up just of all these tags. We're just going to have tags after tags, and the browser knows how to read these tags. And then when it sees something like class, or there's also going to be ID, it knows how to handle these. ng container is specific for Angular and Angular apps. It's basically kind of like a div. It just won't show up. So divs, when we go through our element tree, it will show up. But the ng containers, they're just really tags, and in Angular they're nice because they're really, whenever I use them, they're for if statements, or fors, for for loops. So you can actually include if statements within HTML, which actually is really amazing. This is one of the reasons why I love Angular. There's also reasons why I don't love Angular, but basically, would have been a lot harder if we couldn't include if statements. You could also include if statements in divs, but I just don't like my if statements to show up within the code, so I just put them in containers, and then so I'll leave it at that. So then the tag for button is going to be button, so that's pretty cool. And then we're going to get into these things that are, this is MD, so that's going to be material design, and I actually keep going between MD and mat. But for Angular, for the icon buttons, it's still MD, but I think everything else is mat. But really what that is just going to make our app look, if we were ever to take it to an Angular or an Android phone, material is kind of the main thing that people use to, actually Google makes it, so and they make Android, so material design is kind of what is really nice to use in Android apps. So the nice thing about using it here is that whenever somebody would then go to your Android app rather from your website or even your mobile website, then it's very seamless. It's going to look the exact same. So that's why I like to use material design. Angular, this is an Angular function. It's not natural to HTML. So click, and then we're going to call that new field function that we defined. Yep, new field. And then I'm going to style this a little bit, so I'm actually going to call style. So I'm not going to include this. Whenever you include styles that aren't in your CSS thing that you described before, then you need this. So that's going to be background. I'm going to basically just say the background is going to be none for buttons, because buttons usually have backgrounds. Border none, z index 0. Border of this button, border is also going to be none. And then I'm going to say a thing called z index, which it just means how far into the page and out of the page. I can't really show it with my cursor because it's on 2D surface, but behind or in front of things is what it's going to be. And I'm just going to put it at the baseline is usually 0. I'm just going to make sure that it just kind of stays there. And then buttons, they close themselves. So, or maybe not. Okay, scratch that. Yeet. Okay, so then we're going to say we're actually going to close that because that's going to be our end of our button. And then I'm going to come down here, and then we're going to include see how it goes to mat then. So these are all still the same. Actually, I think yeah, we're going to just leave it like that. So mat icon. This is for Angular. And then I'm going to call a class, and I'm going to call it material icons. Don't worry, we'll get to that when we get to our style sheet. Alright, so then ng if again, so I hate when I do that because it always does that for me. Alright, so ng if and then not show, so as long as there's showing, not expression, but ng if not show. We're also going to style this a little bit, so style equals color is going to be white. Font size is going to be 40 pixels. Background none, and that should be good. And then I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it add circle, and then I'm going to \mat icon. So you have to call that add circle because we're actually, and it's actually an underscore. This is actually when you use this mat icon, not icon, it's actually going through. It's actually using the web, and it's going to grab this add circle. We can look at that later as well once we get through all this HTML. But yeah, so then we're going to do the same thing just with a delete, and so I'm basically just going to copy all this. So copy, Control C. Then I'm going to go here, and this is going to be a remove circle, if you could believe it or not. Remove, and actually the color I think is going to be, it's going to be white as well. So remove circle. Alright, so then, yeah, that seems pretty good. Alright, so then we're going to end our button. Alright, and then what else? So then that's going to also end our ng container. So if somebody's an admin, they can click that. They can click to add this field, and as we saw, that when they click this, it's going to if not show, and this is actually going to be ng if show. When they click this, it's going to call that new field, and that's going to change the show command. And so will if you click the remove button or the plus button. So yeah, so you'll see how this works. It's actually pretty cool. So then, we're actually going to close this div as well. Div, close. Alright, cool. So then let's move on to another div, which is going to be, here I actually include, so ng if, and then if it's going to be show, so then we're going to want to show our, we're going to show this field. So then we're actually going to create a card, which is a material card, and this class is going to be equal to MD card, and that's definitely MD card because I defined it to be that. So MD card, and then style is going to be again style equals, and then we're just going to put the z index 0. I think we could leave this out, but I always put it. I don't know. I get paranoid. You know me. All right. So then we're going to do within this mat card we can have come on. Alright, whatever. Alright, so then we're going to have a mat card title, and this is going to be style equals color And then I just like this color, it's just a nice blue, so we're just going to do 315681. 315681 sounds about right. And then next one we're going to do font weight. Font weight, and that's going to be 600. Alright, so then we're going to say new post, and then I'm going to end the title. So the title is going to tell us that it's going to be a new post. Card, net card, title, title. There we go. Alright, so then mat card content. Alright. And that is going to actually have a style as well. Style, font, size. And we're going to make the font size 24 pixels. Alright, so then our content is going to be a nice good old form. So we're going to do form ID equals upload. And it's also going to be hashtag f equals ng form. And then it's going to be ng on submit. We're going to call that submit. So, no. Submit. Nope. ng sub. Oh my goodness. Alright, submit. Alright, so then this is going to be equal to that on submit function that we called. Now we're going to pass in our f and then non-volatile. No, non-validate. Alright, that's good. Non-validate. Alright, so then we're going to have to do what we're going to input. So this one's just going to be a regular input, and this is going to be style equals background. It's going to be transparent. Transparent. Width is going to be interesting. Okay. Width is going to be 100%. Oh, and then we're going to do max width. Max width is going to be 4,000 pixels. Margin bottom. Bottom 10. 10 pixels. That should do it for our style. Alright, so then we're going to call placeholder. This line's getting pretty long. Placeholder. And this is going to be title. Nope. Title. There you go. Title. And this is an ng model. Just gotta pass that in. Then we're gonna do hashtag title equals ng model. Ng model. And then this field is gonna be required. Required. Alright, pretty cool. So then next thing we're just gonna copy this. Actually, yeah, so we're gonna copy this. And then I'm going to paste it here, but instead of it being, so then this is actually going to be thought. I like to put dots there. So then this is going to be thought. Thought, yeah. Alright, ng model, and that's pretty good. That looks good. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, do I have a name here? No. Alright, so this also has to be name title. Name equals title. And then we're going to do name equals thought as well. Alright. And then actually this has to be a text area because it's going to be pretty big. Text area, and for text areas, you have to close them yourself, so then bang, text area. And I think I'm going to assign a height to this within the styles as well. Yeah, So 100 pixels, that's not bad. So we'll do 100 pixels height. 100 pixels. Alright, cool beans. So there we go. Now we have the text area, which is nice. Now we can just create our button to send this off. So we'll do button. And it's going to be similar to before where we'll call that div class center. Div class equals center. And then we'll call it button. And then we'll call type equals submit. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting done with this. HTML, I'll tell you. MD button. Class equals met button. No met button. Alright, cool. Alright, and then we're going to include that mat icon again. A mat icon. Mat icon class equals material icons. We're going to call style equals and color, font size. Yeah, so it's basically the same. Alright, so I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to say style equals color white. Actually, I don't think the color is white. I think it's that. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. See if there's any difference. And this is actually going to be going to call this send. We have to call it send. That one's on the last. And then this color is actually going to be our kind of our theme, the 315 blah blah blah, which is actually 315681. Seems about right. Alright, the button, the div, the form, close them all out. So come here, boom, button, form, we're done with that, and then I think we might have to close, we're definitely going to close the card content too. Card content. Then we're going to take away this mat card as well. Mat card. Alright, and then we're going to have to close this div. Alright, cool, so mat card content. Yep. Alright, so that's good. And then we kind of just have a little bit more. And this is just for, so that was for the form that we would use to add our stuff. We'll see how that looks in a second. And then now what we're going to go to is just actually displaying our stuff. So it's actually very similar to this, the actual card that we post things into. So here, let me just write this out. So we're going to actually need a for loop to loop through all, and then it's very similar to for loop in just regular Angular. So I'm going to call it pod post, and then bang bang. And then I'm going to do another mat card. Yep. Card class equals MD card. Style equals the z index of 0 again. Equals 0. No, not equals, is 0. Okay, and then I'm going to close it. Then we're going to do an ng container. It's going to be ng if, and the expression is going to be isAdmin. So we're going to call that isAdmin function. So if they're admin, but we're basically just saying they are. So then we're going to call it button. We're going to want them to have the ability to delete it. MD icon button. And then we're going to call it click. On click, we're going to want to call that delete. And we're going to call on delete, and then we're going to want to pass in this. the instance that we are at that moment, and then we're going to also call style equals float right. So this is just going to put it at the top corner, and it's going to make it red. That's really what we're going to do here. Position absolute background none, none, border none. And we're going to call right. I'm actually going to put it right 20 pixels, 25 pixels, and top 0 pixels. Alright, that should be good. Close it out. We'll call mat icon. Mat icon class equals material icons. Style is going to be the same thing as up here, except for that color scheme. I'm just going to make it red. Okay, and then it's not going to be send, it's going to be, I think, that remove again. So I'll color red. This is actually going to be, actually we're going to call it remove circle, but it's going to be a special remove circle, and then actually outline that icon. Oops, that's not there. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright. Like that. And I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to make this. Get just a little bit of that back. Okay. Alright, so then that's going to put the delete button at the top. And then I'm going to close this button. We're going to close the button, we're going to close the container, and then we're going to start putting a title on there. Close button, close ng container, and then we're going to do mat card title, and then we're going to do style equals, it's almost like this. I'll just do it, equals color, the hashtag 315681, I think. Font weight, it's going to be that 600, equals 600. And then we're going to call, so if you want to include a variable, this is kind of a big deal. So we're going to call this, and then it's going to be optional, so it doesn't yell at us if it's nothing. So that's how you include a variable from your component.ts, which is important. The rest of this has just really been styling. I guess I could have, I don't know, I always just like when it's better styled. But yeah, that's important. We're going to kind of do that a couple of times here to include. The other important things were when we called the functions like onSubmit or onDelete. That's interacting with our component.ts, so subtitle. So that's pretty. Those things are pretty important. So if you could just understand that, that'd be good. The rest of here is just ticky-tack, and just for looks. So dot, and I'm going to call it to the post. Oh no, this is not. That's not post. Post is not subtitle. Post, that's date is a subtitle. Then I'm going to call the mat card subtitle. Alright, so mat card subtitle. And then we're going to get to the content, the main deal. Card. Alright, content. and then we're actually going to style it. Style equals font size 20 pixels. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say p style, and then we're going to call that color again. I don't know where I came up with this color, it just was a nice blue. 5, 6, 8, 1. Oops. Boom, boom. Oh, there it is. Alright. And then yeah, that's just going to be our position, our post. So question mark, so it doesn't yell at us. If we didn't have the question mark, that's basically, like I said, it's calling it optional. But if we didn't have that, sometimes it takes like a couple of milliseconds for Angular to load the data that we need. So it would be like there's no post field, even though it's getting the post field. It's just taking like a couple of seconds. So it's just saying, don't get mad if you don't see it. It's okay. It's gonna be there. So don't throw an error. It's optional. .div. Alright, so that was long, and I'm hoping I copied everything down correctly. So what we're going to do now is we have to do a couple of things just to prepare us for this material so that we can include this material. So what we're going to do is not here. We're going to go here, and we're going to kind of follow these steps. So then I'm just going to copy and paste. I included the link to this underneath the video as usual. But yeah, or you could just kind of follow along if you can follow along pretty well with me, that's good too. So we're going to call that, I guess, yeah, sure. Dash save, I don't know, just use dash save. I guess it's more clear when you're going through a tutorial that dash save. So then this is alternative build, so we don't need to do that, but then we need to go to step 2, and then we need to include animations. So then we're going to do Control-C. So when this is done, we're going to paste that in there. I'm going to look at my phone. What time do we have? We have 30 minutes. You know it's going to be close, so I'm going to check on that game score while this is, hey, there it is. So then we're just going to, not even going to let me. Not even going to let me. Here we go. Oh, that's a close one. We shall see, we shall see. Alright, so then what do we need to do? Yep, so we're going to need to, like it says, we're going to have to go into this is our app.module.ts, so we're going to go into that and change some things. And we're also going to have to go into and put those in there as well. Don't worry, we'll do that. And we're going to include a theme as well in our style sheet. Oh, we still have to do our style sheet. Good catch. Okay, and then the next NPM we have to run is this. So when that's all done, which it is, good. Alright, and then we're going to have to go into, okay, so we have 2 more steps. This is really not that bad at all, actually. So, go here. Let's see, so this might actually run a little long, but not bad. For how much stuff we're putting in here, oof. So I'm going to go to our main.ts, I'm going to put that in there right now. So I'm going to go here. So that's what that direction was telling us. So you go to that main.ts and you put it there. Then we're going to go to our app.module and we're going to put a couple of things in that we just included. So this is going to be, let's just make sure that went well. Yep, went well. Import. And this is going to be browser animation module. Close that up from @Angular/platform hyphen. You could probably just copy and paste it. Browser animations. Alright, good. Then we have to include about 3 more things down here, and that's going to 4. Sorry. That's going to be import the card that we use, so the mat card, so mat card module. This is going to be from, and this is going to be @AngularMaterial. material. I'm just going to copy and paste because it's all from that Angular material, and you just really change one word. So 1, 2. Actually, you could just use commas, I guess, too. So that's an idea. So this is just going to be button, and this one's going to be icon. But actually, the icons we're going to have to do material/icon. Yep, I know it. And then that's actually it. We don't really need the other one that I included. That one's for when we start to use. So actually, I'm just gonna. I don't know why it doesn't do this, but I'm going to also do module form module forms module, and then I'm going to include. Alright, so let's see if that's all there. Maybe that's what was going on. I'm actually going to put that before. Oh, Control Z. Alright, and then I'm gonna, well now I have to go back up here. I'm just gonna copy, it's gonna be a lot of, I guess a lot of this, but probably could have been an easier way to do this. But it works, and we actually don't need these. So, boom, boom, boom. Then I'm going to come back up here because I noticed that I need to include a couple of things here. So we're going to do import, and then I'm going to do forms module. I think this might be why one thing wasn't working. From at Angular forms, just like we did in our other guy, and then this one's going to be import HTTP module from at Angular/HTTP. Alright, so that should be good. So then we have to, again, I know, we have to change a couple of things before we can see it all up and running, but it's right there. So the longest one is going to be our styles.css. I kind of wish I could just copy and paste because this isn't a CSS lesson, but you know, yeah, we'll just go with it. So you could just copy and paste if you want, but I'm going to type out, but because this is that one thing that it said to include within that. So then we're going to do at Angular /materials/prebuilt within that documentation that we're reading. And it says import your themes /indigo pink.css. Alright, at Angular material prebuilt themes indigo pink.css. I mean, I should have just copied it because, you know, it's right there. Alright, so then when we're doing CSS, so I guess it could be like a little CSS lesson. This is going to say whenever you see a body tag to do this to the body, so that's going to be background color, and I'm going to make it just a little blue, not too much, but ED F3 FF. I mean, you could keep it plain white, I'm all for it, but I don't know why I did it, but I did it. So that's going to be. So then this is going to be, whenever you see a dot, that's going to be a class, and then a hashtag would be a ID, which we might get to. I'm not sure if I have one here. IDs I don't really use that much, but they are useful. They were more useful when I didn't use Angular, I found. So .4 px, and then this is going to be our whatever we want our logo to be, but we don't have one yet, so I'm actually going to leave that blank. no image. Otherwise, I'd put background image, URL, and then some URL. But we don't have one yet. We're going to do that in the sign up because I'm putting a lot of things in that sign up one, I tell you. So maybe not machine learning, but we'll get to it one machine learning because there's this one that I really just don't like. So again, when you see this without a dot or a hashtag, that means anytime you see button, do this, and anytime you see HTML, do this. I know we did this with buttons. We already did within style. We did border none, but that's because with material, sometimes you have to just go right in and say that because the outside just doesn't load the same. I don't know. Alright, so then we're going to say for everything we want to use font family. This is all just to make it nice and pretty, but we do have to have it, so I should clarify that. You don't actually need to have it, but in order for a lot of things that we just did to kind of work, it would say that we didn't have this class or we didn't. So you could take away all those classes and then you wouldn't actually need this. And like I said, I know we did color white some places, but like I said, sometimes with that material, you just need to go in there. You need to specify specifically right when you want that color to be white, because otherwise it might not change it just because of this theme thing that it has going on. So, and this actually means whenever text is focused, outline none, or whenever anything's focused, I think maybe. So we just want no outline. Alright, so then we're going to change up our navigation bar a little bit that we haven't included yet, but don't worry, we will. Background, color, we're going to do that 315681 again. Color is going to be white. And sometimes, like if I went and put important for all of those, I think I even tried it and it just didn't work with, but it might be able to go inside of that angular problem that we were having before, and we would take out a couple of lines within our styles, within our HTML. But it just, like I said, it was just funny to play around with. It's kind of always like that. I mean, even there's this other thing called Bootstrap, which we'll probably get to. We're definitely going to include it today within our program, but which is also really nice to use. Bootstrap it's very easy to make things look nice. I think the downside, I mean there might be a downside for this as well. For Angular, a lot of sites kind of look the same. I mean, it's not. You're all using the same kind of functions. Like we're all using material icons, so all the sites kind of look the same, and it's just give it like a bland feel. The whole internet, everybody used it, but so that Bootstrap even more so because everyone uses Bootstrap, and it does make things very easy. But it does make things look very repetitive and kind of bland if you were to travel around the web. So basically this is saying, I mean, all of these are pretty well defined. So this is position, but fixed means that it's always going to be there. So if you scroll, no matter what, it's going to be there. Float left means that float is nice because everything, well, position relative I guess would be that as well. So float left will just move it up into the left corner, and it kind of doesn't really affect many things around it. Width 100 means that it's going to take up 100% of the screen all the time. No margins, which means it's going to be right up against those corners, which is nice. Font size is everything else is kind of good. And 20 means that the Z index of 20 means it's really coming out of that page. If anything were to go behind it, it's always going to go behind it. So I mean, it probably would, but I just like to make sure, you know. I'm going to say that a lot, I think, within the next time. I mean, we only really have, no, not padding inherit, you dummy. Important. Alright, there we go again, important. Position, fixed again, not two of them, just one of them. Position fixed. Height is going to be 50 pixels. Float is going to be left. Width is going to be 100% again. Margin is going to be 0 and auto. Font size, it's going to be 35 pixels. Font weight, I think it's probably going to be, oh, 700. Ooh. 700 and z index, again, is going to be 20. So this is saying whenever we get a UL, which is an unordered list, which is, you've seen those, they're like just regular bullet points. That's going to be the ZL, but if you take away those bullet points, it makes a really nice menu. Whoa, how did I do that? Okay, so that's not right. So this is going to be background. Holy crap! Sorry guys. Background transparent. Okay. This is making those lists display flex. Just basically just meaning I think they're all going to take up the equal amount of shadow. Box shadow 0 px. No, not OPX, 0 px, 0 px, 0 RGBA, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do 0 again, 2 pixels. This is kind of just creating a nice shadow, so when things go behind it, it's going to be, there might be a little shadow there for us, which is nice. RGBA, again, it's going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.14, 0, 3 pixels, 1 pixel, negative 1 pixel, RGBA, again, and this one's going to be 0, 0, 0, 0.12. Alright, good stuff. Border radius. 2 pixels. I'm not really eating up a lot of time with this. I am. Alright, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go back up here, because we might get errors or something. We're really not doing a style sheet, so I'm going to go over here. Now I'm just going to copy it because I know that this will work. Alright, so then we have our button. So we got to here, so then we have our dot menu. I'm going to try to copy it slow, and I'm going to kind of hover it over so that people can pause the video and kind of copy it down. It's also going to be on my GitHub, but holy crap, good thing I did not try to do all that. We would have been here forever. And it's really just not important. A lot of it is very intuitive. CSS makes it that way. No, what the fuck? Okay, I think I was right here. So yeah, CSS makes it very intuitive of what's going on. So I'm just going to come back down here and I'm going to hit 1, 2, and I'm just going to paste, and then I'm just going to save, and then voila, we got what we want. All right, so then style.css. So then I'm actually going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to index.html because your index.html is not going to look like this. So I'm going to copy these, and don't worry, I'll scroll over when I put them into everything into the other index.html, because these aren't really, it's not programming, it's just including things. So basically, okay, so I'll scroll all the way over, and again you can look at these from because a lot of these are pretty long. So basically this is including that font that we're going to use. This is going to be that bootstrap that I talked about, and again another font that fonts and materials and icons, that's what this is for. Yeah, so that's what that is. And then we're going to go back up here. I'm going to get another thing from index.html. And this is going to be it. Then the rest we're actually going to do. I'm not going to cop out of the other one. So again, I'm going to copy that. And now don't worry, I'll show you it. Why is index.html saying? Oh, we haven't built it yet. Okay, so, or I haven't even saved it yet. So that's what that is. There we go. I'm just going to go like that. Alright, so I'll try to go across it. If you guys really want to copy it, I'll try to do it slowly so you guys can copy the full thing. but really I would suggest just going to my GitHub. It's attached down at the bottom, and you're going to want to just copy this index.html. It's not going to change. Index.html doesn't really change, but again, I'll just do one more like little crossover so that people can pause the video and they could get the whole thing if they really want. If you guys think it's faster, I don't think that's faster. Beautiful. Alright, so then I'll hit Control S. Alright, cool. So then that's the main things that we need. So then we just need to go to our app component.html. Beautiful. And then actually what we need to do here, it's very easy. So we're just going to include a header. And then we're going to do nav. And then we're going to do UL. Then li, so ULs will have LIs, and then like we saw within the styles, we're kind of compressing the ULs. Yeah, we're compressing the ULs, and it's going to make it look nice. Padding top, 5 pixels. Alright, so then we're going to do, so within this, I'm going to do a div. Oh, but this is going to be the logo, so we don't really need that. Well, do div class logo. Logo, and then there would be a logo inside there, but it's just going to be blank. Actually, I'll do a logo. I don't think it matters, but you know. And then router link. Router link is going to be basically when we click that, what we want it to do. So that's kind of like there's 2 ways to link in HTML. Well, there's one way to link in HTML. There's a couple ways to link in Angular, and that one is router link. And router link is very fast, actually. I prefer to use it when I can. Sometimes you can't. Actually, I only came into one instance when I can't. I was trying to include PayPal into my website. In PayPal, the way to include it is through JavaScript, and then, like I said earlier, sometimes, at least I don't know, for me it doesn't work well together with Angular, but that's just because I'm doing something wrong. But I was able to get it work by putting it into the index, but then I had to reload the site because, like I said, it's just uploading, reloading components. So when I included the PayPal button, the PayPal button needed to load when it was called rather than when the component was called. So when the component and the page had to be called at the same time, it looked like. So that's what I ended up having to do. So and when you use router link, the whole page doesn't reload. It's just the component that you're trying to bring in and where you're trying to bring it in. So you'll see that here in a second. So blog, this is going to be blog. This is going to be a, because otherwise href. So I don't know if you guys have probably seen href somewhere before in your life. I don't know, maybe not. Alright, so then we're just going to close off that nav, and we're going to have to do one more thing here down at the bottom. I think I said one more thing, like at least 10 times. But it's okay, because I don't mind saying a little bit later. And this is a video, so you guys can just pick up and leave off wherever you want. So that's what I'll end up doing. So ID equals main. We have that, so that's good. And this one's going to be a router link, but it's really close. So I also said that a lot. Oh, jeez, I'm a liar. Alright, so the router outlet. Yeah, I knew this one was going to be a lot. I didn't coming into it, and then I was like, oh yeah, we haven't gone over that. I can't just plow through. Okay, so technically now, I think if I build it and we ran into no errors, which I would be very surprised of. We have 6 minutes left. We have to include the home page. A lot of the address book is just going to be copying and pasting. Okay, so that's actually not bad at all. So web.service. Okay, so So let's see. Oh, post.model. .ts error occurred unexpected. That guy. Okay, so we'll do web.service first. So there's a lot of expected commas, expected, I don't know, a lot of things. Okay, so I'm looking for where it could be. Maybe it's this headers. Headers might be. Actually, I have a printout of this. So let's see if I can find that. Alright, so let's see, let's look for headers. Yeah. Yep, it is. Headers. Alright, so then where is it looking for commas? I hope it said line 20. It's somewhere, okay. Alright, so then 26, 26, 39, 39. Oh yeah, another thing about Angular, when it throws back errors at you, a lot of the time it will repeat itself. Where would the comma be? Where would the comma be? Return this. Dot get. 26. Dot map. Response. June. Oh, I mean, I guess the whole thing is line 26. So maybe the only places really need commas are in here. Put a comma between everyone there. This isn't get all posts. Interesting. Well, let's see. Let me try to build it again, and then just see. Once you get one error, you try to get maybe some of them go away. You never know. So post.model.ts. Let's look for that. That's in home. Okay, post.model.ts. Yep, you are missing that. So that's right. You're right. So ng build, and then we'll build that. Dang it, that's it though. There's probably something wrong with the HTML. I'm not gonna lie about it. So let's see. Yep, now we're just down to these. So in 26, there's just got to be something wrong. And then 39. So let's just go to those two. 39. Oh, it looks like they're mad about this. Do I call a? Yeah, I do close it up. Okay. Oh, I think it's a double. I think it's a double guy. That should have fixed one of them. Oop. Alright, ng build. 26 now. Maybe I did the same thing because I copy and pasted, so one would assume that that's what happened. Those copy and pasting errors, man, I will tell you. Alright, but seriously though, if that was the only amount of errors, yo, let go. Who knows, so sometimes when you take out errors, you get more. Had to have said it. I had to have said it. Oh, so no, that's post. That's not post. This is post. Man, I hate myself sometimes. Cannot find name post. Name posts. I don't know what I meant. You tell me, man. Come on. Where's that at? $50. Well, there's definitely a problem at 50. Oh, post.splice. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just build again. What line was that? 41. Let's go to 41. Oh, so get latest post. Post equals, yeah, let's just do that. You were right. And okay, so so let's try again. 41, 41, 41, 41. So at least 4 of those goes away. 50, I have no idea what that's going to be. Alright, so then in app.module. So in app.module 2.9 error in browser animation has no export member browser animation. Okay, that's reasonable. Log component error. Post splice is not okay. On line 50. Oh, okay. Post.splice. Because I named it post, right? Yep. Okay. And then we'll go to app module, and then I will just saying there's something wrong with this browser animation. And I have my app module here. So import browser animations. Pluralized browser animations. And did I include browser animations down below? No, I'm pretty sure I have to. Yep. So that was a good thing. Alright. Bang. Alright, let's build her again. But like I said, sometimes other errors pop out of nowhere when you fix 1 or 2. It's rare, but when you go this long without, usually I like to build more often than what I just did when I just made a whole entire app without building once. Honestly, still, this is a low amount of errors, which makes me think when I do this, node-mon server, I mean, I'm not going to get any errors there because that's just looking at the node. I think when I'm going to get errors is when I go, I'm not even going to click that, I don't even know. Because when I go here, it's going to load nothing. Yeah, and that's because there's something wrong. Any HTML error will do this. So then a good way to debug this is you go to tools and then you go here. Okay, closing tag, it may happen when, okay, so that just is pretty easy. So mat card after mat content, okay. And a div error. So let's just go to HTML. That should be, yeah, the only HTML I really did was here. So it's mat at mat card. So mat card is here. It's not, if you click on it, see it's not paired with anything. So where did I, oh shoot, mat card title. No, that's not right. What are you doing? Goofball. This pairs with this, you dummy. Not that. What are you doing? I don't even know I don't even know how to fix that at all. I could try to go to this div. This div under mat card is bad as well. So, oh, I think that might just be the same. Oh, maybe this one. Let's check this. This mat card goes to that as well. What the heck is going on? Well, let me make sure that's just mat card title. Yeah, you're crazy. You are crazy. I don't even. How do I fix that? Let's go up here. Let's go to the other guy. Let's see if the same thing's happening. So, alright, so I go here. Alright, mat card. Yeah, okay, so it's happening in 2 places, so you can't blame me. I mean, I guess you can, but definitely could. Okay. So let's just make sure that everything's kind of lined up. ng container, button, mat card title. They're not opening ones, they're all closing ones, so that's, oh, that's what it is. There she is. Good. And then, let's see. Well, I mean, yeah. Alright, cool. So then, unfortunately, we have to build again. This is the nice time where it would be nice to have the command that did build and then node. Because we know we have no errors in building, and we know I have no errors on the node side, so The only errors would be in HTML, and Angular doesn't see HTML errors. It just depends on the browser to pick them up. It could cause a lot of logical errors, which are errors that you just cannot pick up on a compiler, and you won't pick it up on the checking up here as well. All right, so that's not bad. That's not bad. We're pretty close. So this is home page. So see, it says homeworks, which is good, and then we have a blog here. So we'll click blog, and then see we get a button. We'll click the button. It says title, and it says thought. So then let's write a title. So this is a test thought. This is a test post. I like to always capitalize my post, and then you could put something here, and you can just call it I am testing out the Angular site. Okay, good. So it looks like it sent it. I mean, I'll reload, and if it reloads, that's always good. Hey, it did, and it reloaded the exact same way. So I thought there might be a little confusion going from one to the other, and then we could delete it. So if we go delete, oh, so close, so close. So let's see, unexpected token 0 and JSON. All right, well that might mean that there's something around. Nope, no errors on that side. So that's just on our delete function that it looks like. That's because then if I were going to reload this, it's gonna what? Okay, so it deleted. Definitely ran it. Okay, maybe if it's because I had 0. So testing post 1. Oh, sorry. What's going on? All right, we set this room reserved until 9 o'clock. So
What's that?
we had the room reserved until 9, but I'll finish up quick. All right, thanks. Safety and security. So I'll get out of here soon. We'll finish up next week. Not this week. All right, so test post 1. Test post 1, and we'll post that, and then I'll do another one, test post 2, because we know it's saving now. 2, I guess it was ambitious, test post 2. And I guess okay, so now we'll be able to, so I'll just do test post 2, and as soon as we get the delete function working, because the get function and the post function are working, so it still gives you back that 0, but it is deleting it. So what we can do to do that is we'll go to web service, and then I'll go down here to, oh, that's the wrong one, sorry. I'll go down here, I'll go to services, no, not server, services, right in here, and then I'll go to delete post, API.posts, so it's going and doing that map response.json, delete posts, so then I could come here and I could console.log the post. So delete blog, subscribe. I don't know why you have to even delete blog, subscribe, and I'll just do this. So subscribe, and then we're gonna do just a response. What am I supposed to do with that? Huh? Post. Okay, so then we'll just map the data, I guess. So console.log data. Okay. Alright, control. Alright, and then we'll try this. If this doesn't work, we'll work on it. It's just one weird error. I don't know why. Because it is going back to the server and it's deleting it. It's just whatever's getting sent back. So the other possible error, which is easier to fix, is going to be in our server routes API.js, and that's going to be within our delete res.send status. So maybe I'll send something back other than send status. So I'll go back to a post of some sort. Res.send data, why not? Res.send data. Alright, cool. And then here, I'll go here, actually I don't have to build it again. So we'll just do node on server, and then we'll reload. Everything's there, ta-da, ta-da. I'll just do another test post 2 again, post 2. we'll send that, just get that back, and then I'll reload. You always have to reload before you delete because there's no ID associated, so when it goes to get the ID, it will send an error. Alright, cool, so that works actually. Beautiful, so then we'll just do the book, and then we'll do home, and then and the login stuff. So we'll actually have a whole nother Angular day before we get to machine learning, but then that means that we'll have a whole machine learning day. So it's a little ambitious, but the rest of this is just going to be a lot of copying and pasting to include the book, and then the home component is just going to show the latest, as you can see. But yeah, I hope everyone's pretty happy with this. I think it looks really good. Yeah, and then we'll also do a local. So I think actually it's a good thing if we stop here rather than trying to rush the next a little bit. Plus the fact that I'm getting kicked out. So I mean, you know, make the most of what happens. Am I right? All right. So yeah, so this is pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll pick up here next week. We'll just do a whole other Angular day and just make this look really good. All right. End it here.